Welcome back to another episode of NutriRebel Red Pill Edition. Hello there. Today we're going to speak about how I became a practitioner of orthomolecular nutrition. It's a very long story with my own health problems and the confusion out there. So many confusing things, concepts. You don't know who to believe, especially social media people. So many conflicting opinions and views on things. It's unbelievable. Anyway, this medical doctor in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, opened up my eyes to it. He was actually my mother's family doctor since like 1998 or 1999. I tried to get into him over the years, but everyone wanted to get into him to see him. I couldn't get in up until about 2014, and it's a much longer story. Anyway, he was practicing what they call integrative medicine. There's many words for what he does. Integrative means whole body, right? And I just thought it meant some kind of hippie, wishy-washy type thing, energy medicine, naturopathy, and I didn't know what all these words meant and how restricted practitioners are and things like that. I didn't understand. It's actually a nightmare, and they all know it. Like it's done that way on purpose, so to confuse people and to they almost never get the answers, especially when they're dealing with insurance companies. The insurance companies are there to make money, so they would want you to keep going back. Anyway, if we had somebody like a botanist, like if we had a practitioner like a botanist analyzes a plant, that would be the ideal. That's what he was closest to, but he was operating under the Ontario Healthcare Insurance Plan, and it's been cut over the years, and he only gives you like 10-minute visits. That's all that. Not just him. That's just what the system allows. So you can't really help somebody in 10 minutes. Just one issue at a time, basically.
A Windsor doctor with tens of thousands of patients is no longer permitted to practice family medicine.
Yeah, Dr. Bernard, top left there, he practiced all over the world, from China to USA, Northern Ontario, and elsewhere. This is what I heard from people, and this is what I was told. They trashed him. They trashed all these. The establishment tends to trash these types of doctors and practitioners, it puts a lot of fear into people. Anyway, yeah.
Dr. Thomas Barnard has been found guilty of professional misconduct by a disciplinary committee.
See, the medical community operates on an outdated 10-minute office visit based mostly on acute issues, also called reductionism, reducing the body to component parts. This runs contrary to the system's biology methodology that treats the whole patient rather than only disease that takes years to develop, right? And orthomolecular nutrition and orthomolecular medicine are the foundation of naturopathy and integrative medicine, but it's just so confusing. There's naturopathic doctors that aren't covered by insurance. There's some that are. It's so confusing. Yeah.
Joining us with details of our top story tonight is Rich Garden.
He tried to practice systems biology as much as the rules would allow him to do, right? But however, sometimes he wasn't allowed or didn't have time to fully explain his systems biology orientation or analyzing the terrain of his patients fully, and some accidents happened. So that's what do you expect to happen when you have a 10-minute office visit? You just give him a refill, and that's pretty much what it is. You can't really explain too much. You can't do much analysis. He's just doing what he can. And so he had somebody died back in 2012, I think. But how many? I mean, he had 30,000 patients. Most doctors only have 2,000 patients. And how many regular doctors do you hear of patients dying all the time? They just give them surgeries and pills, and the media doesn't mention that, right? So, therefore, it's just it's a red herring. They're using him as this TV interview is much more balanced than the others.
Jim, a ruling has come down from the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, and it includes a number of restrictions for the former head of the Essex County Medical Society.
Yeah, and he was the former head of the Essex County Medical Society, so he wasn't some kind of like whatever people label him, a pill pusher or something. No, the average pill popper doctor typically dispenses countless surgeries, expert visits, prescriptions, and this results in astronomically more deaths and accidents than what they claim Dr. Bernard caused. It's just unbelievable.
The obvious question is what will happen to the 25,000 people who call him their family doctor?
Yeah, you heard that right. He had over 30,000 patients. And I would say most of them didn't go back to him because they didn't need to. He solved their problem. But the the average MD only has about 2,000 patients. So why did Dr. Bernard have so many? It's because, like I said, everyone knew he would solve or try to solve your issues quickly without using so many drugs. Most of these 30,000 patients probably stopped going to him because he actually solved their problem, right?
It's another day at the doctor's office for Dr. Thomas Barnard.
There you are, my friend.
I'm seeing the children of my original patients, and I really love all the people I've seen.
Friend.
I'm seeing the children of.
See, he was the kind of guy who'd be updated on the latest research as well as historically proven therapies to address the terrain of the body, much like a botanist would a plant. This includes orthomolecular medicine, nutrition, and psychiatry, which attempts to analyze the body to balance the naturally occurring elements. He also worked with Dr. Linus Pauling, who was the founder of modern day chemistry, and I found out when I spoke to him. But there's much he couldn't tell me. And some of it was just hints, right? And I understood what he was saying. He was kind of cryptic. Often we have to say things cryptically because we will be censored.
My original patients. And I really love all the people I've seen, and I really want to make sure everybody gets looked after well.
A handful of his 25,000 longtime patients stopped by his wellness center today to stand by their doc.
I went to doctor.
He got in trouble with regulatory bodies partially because he ran a so-called excessive testing, which stretched the budget of the OHIP, the insurance. But he actually tried to get to the bottom of health issues by all the so people didn't have to go to specialists all over the place, and the specialists don't even talk to the primary doctor. That's how bad the system is. How many MDs do you know that run all sorts of tests for prevention? They say they claim to be preventative doctors. Not many. They don't run so many tests like on the terrain of your body, all the foundational elements. It's insane.
Bernard, and he was the one that brought me back, and he's why I'm here today, and I want people to know that.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
These testimonials weren't enough for the College of Physicians and Surgeons. Its discipline committee found Barnard committed an act of professional misconduct. If
you actually met this guy in person, you would know that he would not have not be capable of these accusations. It's just incredible. And he wanted to be a doctor since he was 5 years old. He went to Ivy League schools in the United States. That's where he grew up in New York, I think. And it's appalling that they would say these things about him, but they know that the members of the public don't do much research and they don't know the details, so they trash them.
Failed to maintain the standard of practice and engaged in an act or omission relevant to the practice of medicine. It all stems from his treatment of a former patient between 2000 and 2012, whose cause of death was listed by the coroner's office as multi-drug toxicity.
Yeah. Controlled substances was to be prescribed by the patient by Dr. Bernard. Like I said, 10-minute office visits, and he was a lot of the substances that are good for you, they're often restricted because obviously they don't want you to have them. Here in other countries, if you're in another country, you can get them. You can get a lot of these things over the counter. Testosterone injections. You can get vitamin injections in other countries easily without a prescription over the counter. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, you have it. Just pay $3 or $4 and that's it. That's how much it is. And the prices are inflated on purpose as well in places like Canada.
Which included controlled substances that had been prescribed to the patient by Dr. Bernard.
The truth is, I wore a lot of egg on my face for something that was somewhat out of my control.
But the committee ruled Bernard demonstrated a lack of knowledge, skill, and judgment. The college's investigation regarding his broader patient care raised concerns over his prescription of human growth hormone for weight loss management.
Yeah, human growth hormone for weight loss management. That's also restricted substance, right? There you go again, because they don't want you to get real help. They're saying disjointed and episodic care with poor record keeping. No, that's not true. He had a computer system since 1994. He was one of the first doctors to have that. The guy is a futurist. They're just lying. He had a computer system. He had like a centralized database with all the records on the computer. None of these big long. You see in doctor's office, you see these walls full of patient files in like a big folder type arrangement, like big folding drawers. Oh God, he didn't have any of that stuff.
Disjointed and episodic care with poor record keeping, and the use of excessive lab testing in the absence of clear documentation of medical need. It's for these reasons and others the college issued a 4-month suspension of his certificate effective March 17th. In the interim, Bernard can no longer prescribe narcotics, controlled or monitored drugs. He's also been stripped of the ability to practice family medicine and barred from providing OHIP-insured service. However, the doctor says he will still practice natural.
He was not able to share everything with me when I went to see him in 2014. Just imagine that, 2014. He gave me some things some prescriptions, and that solved my problem. But I didn't understand the details, and it took me about 4 years. I stopped taking them when I went to overseas. I came back. I stopped taking them because I didn't understand, and I couldn't get them. They were on prescription only. But when I moved to another country, it's a big long story. When I moved to another country, then I got them without prescription, and then it made more sense to me. And when I discovered orthomolecular medicine, that's what opened up my eyes. And when I compared the blood work, what they consider normal in Canada to other countries, that's what really opened my eyes. So I just figured out my own problem, but he was not able to tell me that.
Cosmetic and aesthetic medicine.
So I'm going to focus on the natural therapies I like, but I'm going to set up my practice where there'll be a bunch of other docs, colleagues, who will be able to take on patients so that people won't be bereft without a family doc.
Bernard hopes to have
The mainstream media typically does not give a somewhat balanced approach and report as they did here, so they deserve some credit for not bashing him. Yeah.
New office on Walker Road by midsummer. He admits his patients will likely need to visit walk-in clinics to bridge the gap until a new family doctor
terrible.
can take them on. Now, I should also note Bernard agreed to retire to avoid a charge of incompetence and an additional $70,000 hearing. The Essex County Medical Society would not comment, Jim, on that ruling.
Therefore, you can see what kind of if he had all these patients, a lot of these patients, maybe the 30,000, maybe he had maybe 3 or 4,000, I'm guessing, that had chronic issues he couldn't explain fully, and he still kept them on his roster. Like I was there, I kept going back because I just didn't understand. Anyway, and then I discovered more about my health in 2018 when I was 38 or 39 years old from another family doctor that I got, a new one, after I had him, and they discovered I had something that they like a hernia, a type of hernia that they said I had a hernia. I'm like, which kind? And they're telling me the kind, but that type of hernia, it's like a sliding type thing. It doesn't appear all the time. I've had that since I was like 5 years old or something, and this is how bad it is. Anyway, if you like my work here, please like and subscribe. And check out my, it's hard to see here. Check out my link on the bottom left-hand side.